I was reading my latest book on public speaking. They said, Mike, you need to open your presentation with a famous quote. So here we go. The ultimate victory in competition is derived from the inner satisfaction of knowing that you gave your very best and you've gotten the most out of what you had to give. Thanks, Howard. I'll tell you what, winning is nice too. And beating your son at his favorite first-person shooter after he calls you an old-school Pac-Man driver, that's priceless. Okay, guys, my name's Mike, and thank you for coming so that I can share with you what we've learned about increasing engagement in your game through competitive experiences. Now, yes, I love competition. Not the mean, vicious kind of competition, but the kind of competition that Howard was talking about in his quote. The kind of competition that really brings people together and builds camaraderie. And that kind of competition, while certainly present in traditional sports, is also present in electronic sports, in esports per se. I mean, these games have a whole lot of people coming together and building and sharing in an online community. It's not always easy to design to this, though. When we ask most people if they consider themselves competitive gamers, most people will actually say no. The thing is, most people are playing competitive games. They just don't consider themselves competitive gamers. And, well, I mean, think about it. That whole engagement in competition has been going on for centuries with games like chess and Go. I mean, they're not still popular because they had really great UA campaigns, right? So the thing is, when we've got a whole bunch of people playing the games, but not thinking of themselves as competitive players, what does that market look like? What do the numbers tell us about the size of this market? Well, actually, we've got a really fun thing. We have an audience play along here. What I'm going to ask you guys is, how many million hours did it take mankind to build the Great Pyramid of Giza? Any guesses? All right, I'll throw one out there for you. About 33 million hours to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, how many million hours do you think we've spent watching the most popular YouTube video? All right, no brave people, that's fine. Actually, the answer is larger than this. The answer today is about 330 million hours we've spent watching a music video from Latin America. So that's impressive. But still, when you look at traditional sports, it gets even more impressive. The March Madness, you guys all know March Madness, right? March Madness got 644 million hours of views last year. Now, how many millions of hours did we spend watching other people play video games? Okay, yeah, it's a big number. As a matter of fact, we spent 4.8 billion hours watching other people play video games. And this isn't just super hardcore people either. It's important to look at the breakdown of the audience that we've got. In 2017, for the first time, we had more people who considered themselves only occasional esport viewers engaging as part of the market as people who consider themselves hardcore. And when you extrapolate that, we still see more casual users than people who consider themselves hardcore. This is fantastic because it means that the industry is growing to incorporate some of a larger audience. So let me tell you, competition is alive and doing well. But how do we map back competition to engagement? Well, we know social works, right? The more social interactions that you can arrange between someone and something else, the more likely they are to continue that engagement and get more of it. I mean, it's true in church groups. It's true in community theaters. I mean, you get to meet the actors backstage. You laugh, you have a drink. You're more likely to renew your season tickets. It also happens in competitive gaming. As a matter of fact, when you hear competitive gaming, what I want you to hear is social gaming. Because at its core, every competitive game has to be social. We need someone to compete against. And more often than not, not only do we have someone to compete against, but we've got people who are going to hang around and watch. We've got people who are going to be spectators. I picked a pickup basketball game for the example here. These guys aren't in South Philly, by the way. I don't know if you can see this, but the letters on the sign in back of them are in Cyrillic. This is in Russia because competition is social worldwide. But it's not always about winning. Sometimes when you play a game against someone and they absolutely take you to town, maybe you discover a new tactic or a new mechanism. For example, if you're in a dungeon crawler and someone kills your party with nothing but tanks, no healers, no ranged weapons, no magic, and they just clean you with a crew full of tanks. Maybe you're going to go back home and maybe you're going to play a game with nothing but tanks to try and replicate what you've learned. It happens. People do it, and it results in additional sessions for that week, additional ad views, additional in-app purchase opportunities. It increases engagement when that happens. So I think we've established that. Let's take a look at what the numbers say about that theory, though. What you're looking at here is a game a week before it had a tournament and then the 2 weeks after it had a tournament. The numbers here are normalized to kind of show what the average is before the tournament. When they launched the tournament, this big, huge, tall line, that represents the views that they got on Twitter. A huge increase in engagement just because they were having a tournament. That's pretty impressive, but more impressive, more actually what I want you to remember from this slide is that these two graphs are also significantly improved. That's downloads and revenue. For the 2 weeks of the tournament and the week prior, they increased the revenue over $1.5 million over the previous 2 weeks. It's a big deal. Now, not only is that a big deal, but we actually kind of chose this slide intentionally. This is a mobile game, guys. This is a casual mobile game. And that actually ties us into competition in mobile. Well, we've got plenty of competition in the core games on PC, right? Everyone's familiar with esports. But is there anything intrinsic to mobile or casual games that would mean it's not suitable in that market? Well, we thought we'd try that out. So we actually set up a whole bunch of tests where we'd go into shopping malls in Southern California, and we had like I think a $35 prize that people could win if they engaged in this tournament with us. And so the crazy thing is, people would play, a lot of people would play, but if they were in the top of the leaderboard by the time the contest was over, they were sitting around. This one woman was out with her friends, and apparently she said to her friends, "No, I'm second. I am playing until I actually get back to the top of the leaderboard." The story has a happy ending. She actually did end up winning the $35 prize. But I mean, think about it. You get over 150 people to play, hours more of your game for $35. Name a UA campaign that's actually that effective. It's hard to do. Now, with the results of this study, we decided to go big time, and we created something called Champions of Fire. It was basically an esports tournament for casual games on mobile. And what we learned by doing this is that there is no difference between the benefit you get from playing competitive games on casual games on mobile as you do for core games on PC. This works to increase engagement. So with that, we decided we were going to go ahead and build Game On. Now, Game On is a set of REST APIs, so it's cross-platform, right? And with these REST APIs, you can enable your players to participate in competitions that you set up for not just digital prizes, but also for actual real-world physical prizes. You can decide to sponsor a prize for your players that's anything for sale and delivered by Amazon. So that's kind of a cool option to give as well. Now, these are the things that come with Game On. I'll let you actually take out your phones and start taking pictures because I'm not going to talk through all of these. I am actually going to talk through two things up here that are my favorite. One of them is the administrator console. Okay, how many people ever say the admin console is their favorite of anything? Actually, no, this is good because, it'll take, I think on average, maybe 2 weeks for your developers to integrate this. That was sort of the experience we had with our launch partners. But with the admin console, once you're done with the engineering, your marketing manager can be in charge of setting up competitions. And if they want to set up a recurring competition, not a problem. They just check the checkbox, they pick the prizes, how many levels deep, they pick the kind of contest they want to have. It's really easy for your marketing guys just to take that and run with it after you've installed it. The second thing that I really like about Game On is down here. With Game On, you're not the only one who can set up competitions for your players. Your players can set up competitions for your players. I'm going to pick on you guys here, all right? So if we're all, say, waiting in line for another talk at GDC, and we start trash talking about that endless climber, right? Well, okay, I'll tell you what. Right here, right now, we're going to play this game. Whoever can get to the highest level in the next 120 seconds is the boss of this game. And we can do that. And if the four of us are having this much fun seeing who's really the boss of the climber, maybe a couple other guys are saying, hey, that looks fun. I want to do that too. And that's a kind of spontaneous engagement you just can't buy through ad placement. That's only something that competition is going to get for you. And competition that we've made possible with Game On. Now, it's pretty flexible. When we're talking about who wins, you actually get to decide that yourself. Any code that you can write to track things, it could be maybe not just high score, but maybe number of total competitive wins in a league, or fewest lives lost, or any other measure. You could have the highest score, the highest level, or the longest time played. Whatever really works well for your game is how you can go ahead and measure success or measure winning. Another neat thing, no login required. Because we're going ahead and doing this through a REST API and a GUID that we send up to our cloud, you just have to have the competition code. And they can enter the competition and enter the code, and you can create a walled garden for just the people that you want to invite to the game. So the prizes are pretty neat. Again, you can award any electronic or digital prize. A lot of people will use in-app purchase items from their catalog to award folks. The physical items, again, anything we sell and deliver on Amazon, we're currently, you can code to that from anywhere in the world. We actually will deliver inside the United States for now, but we're looking forward to getting in more places. When you help people have fun in a competition, you need to make sure that they're matched up, right? Because it's no fun playing a level 5 guy while all these level 90 guys are basically treating you like cannon fodder. I hate that. I'm too often cannon fodder. So what you can do is you can create groups based on anything you guys can keep track of in your code. So that's not just level, but imagine if you had a competition for every one of your people that had a Vorpal sword or a certain set of armor or had beaten so many bosses. There's no limit to the kind of different ways you can structure who's in your competition or who's in your league. So be creative and figure out where that goes. Now, I also want to say that Game On is built on AWS technology. So trust me, this sucker is going to be robust worldwide. And because it's a set of REST APIs, I don't care what operating system you use. Actually, you can use any framework you want to as well. It'll work on iOS, it'll work on Android, it'll work on consoles, it'll work on PCs. Basically, if you have an HTTP connection, Game On's going to work for you. So I'm really excited about how we back down from an SDK library to make this thing really cross-platform and easier for you guys to adopt. Now, you were all waiting for this one, weren't you? How much is this going to cost? Actually, it's not that bad. For the first 6 months, it's actually free. And then we start keeping track of the volume of your usage. Every score that you post counts as a single play. You get 35,000 free plays a month, after which you pay $3 per 1,000. So I really wish you the kind of luck that gets you guys paying $3 per 1,000 every month. That would be wonderful if that happened. Another important thing to know about this is because you, the developer, control writing a price to the service or writing a play to the service, you decide when to write play so that there's no one out there with a rogue client who can actually break your bank account on this. So you guys actually get to control the volume of play submits off to Game On. And that's a really valuable thing for you to keep control of your business. Now, I know some of you are thinking my game may not be right for competition. Well, in the kiosks in which we're playing Game On enabled games, we actually have a solitaire game that has competition built in. What he's done is he's taken identical hands, given them to players, and see who can solve the identical solitaire hands in the fewest moves or in the fastest time. So he found a way to make competition work in a game like solitaire. I mean, what sounds less social than solitaire, right? But he's found a way to actually make me think, how did you get that done in so few moves? I need to study what you did and learn about it. Now, it's possible that all of you have one of two kinds of games, either a direct competition or an indirect competition game. A direct competition game is one in which my actions immediately affect you in the game. Fencing, boxing are all good examples of this. Then there are indirect games where it doesn't matter how well you perform, it doesn't change how well I can perform. Track meets, swim meets, archery, for example, are good examples of this. So when you kind of have figured out what kind of a game you have, there are some things that do tend to work pretty well. For example, in direct competition, leagues are incredibly popular. Leagues work really well. And you can create a league out of a local group, out of a group that shares a certain specific skill set in your game. And you can compete inside the league for the most number of wins given a certain number of games. A great way to measure league performance. And that way you can take the people who are at the top of each league and pull them up into the next competition. When you do that, all of the people in the first level league, they're going to be fans of the person that they sent to that next round. There's a good chance of that, right? And if there's a good chance of that, there's a really good chance that if you stream some of those later rounds in competition, you could get a lot of viewers, or you could really help a friendly streamer get a lot of viewers, and you can start cross-promoting each other's stuff. Again, just another mechanism for engagement. For indirect games, leagues work well, also work really well. Everything I said about them is still true. But you can also do challenges. For example, if you have a package of downloadable content, you can say, I'll give you 3 tries to get as far as you can on this DLC level. And then you can have a competition to see actually who got farthest, or who can get to level 20 in the least amount of time, or whatever it is you guys want to use. Challenges are really good at getting people to try and get there. If they meet the challenge, maybe you send them one of the physical rewards from Amazon.com. Now, we've talked a little bit about the awards available on Amazon. What is some of the best practice around delivering those awards and giving those awards out? So it would be great if everyone who entered and registered in your league got maybe a t-shirt with some of your branding on it. Does anyone not have a t-shirt with branding for sale? I'm guessing, actually, who does have a t-shirt with branding for sale? Okay, one. All right. Guys, I want you to go to merch.amazon.com. If you write this down, I don't have a slide for it. Merch.amazon.com. Go ahead and sign up with them, and they'll give you a way at no money out of pocket to start printing your own promotional shirts for the game that you guys have. And those shirts will be for sale on Amazon, which is kind of cool, because if they're for sale on Amazon, it means that everyone who enters the competition can get one of your t-shirts. For the people who do better, you'll want the value of the prize to increase a little bit. Maybe some really good in-app purchase packages that you have in your game. Again, 0 cost to use, but I mean, that's a good, valuable reward for your players. For the people who win, get them really nice physical items. And okay, by really nice, I don't mean like hundreds of dollars, but I mean like a $35 or $45 item, because that's actually kind of really cool, because now you get to play games so you can get cool stuff. Who's going to say no to that, right? So this is a good idea on how you can structure pricing. Make sure you've got the top 2 with some good high-value physical, tangible items. Then you can go digital from there, or do t-shirts from there. So those are some of the best practice ideas I hope you would pick up if you do choose to do competitions in your game. And remember, I'll finish with one of those quotes too, by Nelson Mandela. He never loses. He either wins or he learns. And this is what you're going to enable with your customer base with Game On. Guys, take a picture of this if you want to continue the conversation. I'd be happy to. And please hang around, visit the kiosks, and stay right here if you want to learn how to implement Game On. My colleague Peter Heinrich will be up next, and he'll be telling you all of the implementation secrets. Thank you very much.